What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. This video I'm going to talk about inflation, which is still a very hot topic, and I'm going to explain why inflation is higher than you think still, and that they're kind of tricking you with the numbers that they're putting out. And yeah, so with that, inflation for July in the US was 3.2%. And the month before, June, it was 3%. So it's gone up a little bit that month. And so I guess those numbers in itself aren't terrible. Those numbers aren't terrible. I mean, they're still higher than they would like it to be, which is they have a goal of keeping it below 2%. The problem with it being over 3% is that the year before, so in 2022, it was way higher. It was at 8 or 9%. And inflation is cumulative. So that means that it's not just like, oh, it's 3%. But yeah, compared to what? So you're comparing it to prices last year. So if you have 1 year where inflation's at 10%, and then the next year it's at 3%, you need to keep count of, if you're comparing to 2 years ago, you need to have both of those numbers in mind. So actually, if you go back about 3 years, inflation's gone up by about 20%. If you go back 2 years, it's around 14%. And so if you compare that to people's wages, I mean, obviously, the wages have increased a little bit, but maybe about 5 to 10% over that 3-year period, and the price of everything else has increased by 20%. So that's one way that they're kind of lying to you, saying that, like, we have inflation under control. We're doing all this, but they really don't. I mean, that's just stuff they tell you, which isn't 100% accurate. On top of that, so the numbers that they put out are also including very volatile products, such as some food items, energy. Oh, goodness me. And so those could fluctuate just depending on the season. If you're getting specific food item, it's very expensive in the winter, for instance. It's harder to produce some fruits, or it could just, it could just vary based off of what had happened that past year for whatever reason. And the same thing with energy, like oil. That's just that price could vary depending on what's happening internationally. If oil cartel OPEC just decides to cut production, stuff like that. So they don't really have much control over the food and energy prices, like, overall, and that's why it's volatile. So that means that it could sway a lot pretty fast, and so that's included in the inflation numbers that they put out, consumer price index. But the problem is that over the summer, the price of oil, for instance, dropped dramatically. I don't know if you guys remember, but overall the past year, oil has dropped a lot, but inflation's kept going up. And so the price of oil should be helping that number to be lower. So it's almost like artificially lower, like the inflation number is artificially low because the price of oil has dropped in that same time frame. And the best way to see this is if you look at something that's called core inflation. So they also report core inflation every month, and a lot of people don't really talk about that number as much. I mean, some economists do, but it's not the number you'll see if you just read the news, or they won't tell you this one. So it's a little more hidden, but I mean it's right there. It's right next to it actually in the publications from BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the U.S. So that one did actually fall in July. I think it was 4.8% in June, and it was 4.7% in July. So the core inflation does not consider food or energy. So it's actually a more accurate way of calculating inflation. The actual inflation that affects everyone. But at the same time, I mean, it's 4.7%. So I guess, I mean, if you got a 5% raise since last year, I guess you have a little bit more money now. But overall, I mean, the past 3 years, it's been up a ton. And so it's kind of, when they tell you that, it's coming down, everything, it's like, well, inflation was almost 10% last summer, so I would be shocked if it's not going down. I don't know if you guys have kept up with the situation in countries like Argentina, where inflation has just gone crazy. And it's called hyperinflation, where it just accelerates uncontrollably, and the price of goods is maybe tripled, maybe quadrupled, maybe even more in a year, and it's crazy. So we're not on track to do that in the U.S., which is good. But there's gonna be some kind of tough time still until either inflation cools off or people's wages catch up with inflation. So yeah, this is kind of an inflation update that I had here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you have comments and stuff that you want me to cover, please let me know. And we won this one pretty easily. I don't know how much I contributed, but yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon.